Good evening. It's a great pleasure to be with you tonight when the presentation will be made to this year's winner of the Charles Bronfman Award, an award which has claimed a real recognition in the community here and in the community around the world for selection of people of great competence, of great heart, and great representatives of Jewish values in the work that they do in various fields. I'm very happy that the judges that have worked with me over these years are here tonight. I welcome, of course, Justice Abella, Professor Ziv. What is so interesting about Eric Rosenthal is that he does not head an enormous organization. He heads a quite small group, and yet over 20 years he has pursued the values that he learned from his grandmother, values that have led him to become a leader in work in 26 countries, work that has taken him to young children, to children that are forgotten, to children that have disabilities, to children that have no friends. We were all enormously impressed by him. Impressed because of his modesty, but more than modesty has led him to become a leader in his field, a leader that inspires others in much larger organizations, some of which I'm very happy to say are here tonight with us. The world of disabilities is a world that I've come to know something about. It's 10 to 12% of our global population. And in many countries that are financially well endowed, there are organizations that help the disabled. But what I discovered in my professional work was that in those countries where there is poverty, the people that get the last take on the assets, the people that care about least, are those with disabilities. And it is that segment that Eric Rosenthal has devoted himself to. Let me just tell you a few of the things that played with us in terms of the work that he has done, and let me read them to you. First of all, he's gained world attention by his own advocacy. Secondly, he has stopped torture against people with disabilities in a number of countries. Torture, I might add, physically, but also torture as a result of isolation in Argentina, in Hungary, in Paraguay. He saved lives of infants left to die in medical care facilities in the Republic of Georgia. He's closed dangerous institutions, and some of you may have seen these dangerous institutions, where humanity and its values are not present. He's inspired a no new admissions policy to protect children with disabilities being placed in institutions in Serbia. And by that I mean that these institutions will no longer have new clients, but there will be new ways found to help these young people. He's brought his own particular values and his own advocacy in path-breaking cases to protect the rights of young people. And he's done that by waking the heart and minds of major international organizations to work with him and to lead to such path-breaking statements as the UNICEF statement issued in 2013 on the World Campaign to End the Institutionalization of Children with Disabilities. He's talked about protecting rights. He's established grassroots advocacy groups. And I might tell you from my own experience that it is these advocacy groups with the people empowered that have the greatest impact. What is so interesting about Eric Rosenthal is that the human beings that Eric deals with are those that are to a large extent forgotten and certainly unprotected. They're subject to all sorts of crimes, and to my great regret, I have seen too many of such places. And what I've also learned in my work, which is a fraction of what Eric has done, is that there are very few people who are ready to stand up for this forgotten part of mankind. Eric is one of those rare human beings that exposes the abuse, who talks to the rights of these young people, and who gathers momentum in terms of support by visiting, by discussing. And when you see the way in which young children react and warm towards a friend, the way in which they've reacted to Eric with their arms around him because they have no friends. As an individual, he has affected the developments in 26 countries with regard to the whole issue of disabilities and rights. You then know why the work that Eric is doing is so important. The real danger that we all have is that Eric will not live for 200 years. We need leaders like Eric. And most importantly, we need to support the work that he's doing. This is why we chose Eric. This is why he's presented to you tonight.